so that brings us to here, because you just retired out of there, and I caught last night, or maybe it was earlier today, I don't know. Again, it's been a whirlwind. It's all running together. Sure. That you're getting back into law enforcement. You've just kind of returned back to it. Can you talk about that?
It's super crazy. So I retired out, and Don approached me. He's like, "Hey man," he goes, "Yeah, you need to think about coming and working with me a little bit." So I'm like, "Okay." Like, yeah, this is right up my alley. So I'm like, I'm going to start my own little company, Contingency Tactical.
Okay.
So that's my firearms company. So I'm working with Don. I'm doing that. And I'm like, it's keeping me somewhat busy, but this is the first time in my life that I haven't been in service to my community. Mm-hmm. So, it's kind of weird, but that's kind of part of my identity as a man, I think, is like, I need to be of service.
You're giving back, yeah.
And so I struggled with that for a while.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, all right, I think I'm going to, my local sheriff's office has a reserve sheriff's unit.
Okay.
So went in there, and so I'm back on the road, man.
I love
20 years later.
I love it. I love it, especially with the exit and the kind of, it seems like the right thing, man. Yeah. Getting back in on your terms, and doing the things that you want to do for the reasons you want to do them.
Absolutely.
And you're getting to work with your friends at the same time. It sounds like a really great setup.
And I think it's a good fit right now too, because I want to bring something back to the agency too. So maybe I can help them with some training and
like what? So let's talk about that. Like what do you hope to do?
So I am, again, I think I've been very lucky in my career, and I've been exposed to some really high level people like Don and Chris Sizelove and some other folks. I've got to train with some pretty high level dudes, and I would like to bring some of that experience back to the sheriff's office, and some of the guys locally. Maybe I can help bring their game up a little bit.
I love that. Have those discussions happened yet, or are you just kind of you're working them? You're greasing the wheels.
I'm easing in there.
Yeah. I wonder how it'll be accepted. Because it seems to me, when I talk to people that train a lot, so they're obviously going to be very biased, but that you can never have too much training. Right?
Well, you got to have a student that's willing to learn.
That's the bigger part. So I wonder how we'll have to do this podcast again in a year and see where we're at. Man. But I wonder about just kind of how do you do that differently? Coming at it from your background now and coming back into it, what will guys want? What will they accept?
I think the burden's on me on how I'm going to present it.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. I got to come in there with a soft ego. I can't come in there like gangbusters. So,
well, let's talk about kind of what you're doing with like Don and the upstart of your new company. Like, what are the things that you're learning like right now about all of that?
Oh man, so there's an ego in the industry, right? So
really,
yeah. So I'm a neophyte in the industry. I'm not a known quantity out there. I don't have the super credentials of being some SF guy or something like that. I've got a little bit of law enforcement credentials and some things like that. But I think. I listened to your podcast with Mike Pannone, and Mike says something that kind of rang home to me, talking about Mark Smith. It's like, you don't have to have super duper credentials as long as you're coming at it from your point of view and your experience, and you're presenting good material, and that you can relay your concepts clearly, and you can teach, like get a student to receive your message and understand what you're trying to relate.
How to do the thing.
Right. So that's what I'm trying to focus on, is just being able to relay what I'm trying to get across and bring somebody's skill level up.
Well, John, that is a very mature professional response. And going back to the whole ego part and things like that's you were kind of listening to how I kind of got into this. Chris, who you just mentioned, who we're going to have on the show, was kind of asking a little bit about how I got here. And it was searching for exactly what you just said. And the interesting part was it wasn't impossible to find, but it wasn't exactly easy because there was a lot of noise and there's a lot of stuff that you had to wade through. And I think a lot of people getting into the business and by the way, so this was like during 2020, 2021, when it seemed like it reminded me of the 90s, the late 90s, when everybody was becoming a personal trainer, because I came from the fitness background. Like everybody's going to get a personal trainer certification because, I can train good, So I should be able to teach people this. People are asking me how to do it when they see me in the gym because maybe I've had some success or whatever else. So why don't I just get a certification and then people can pay me to do this, and then I should be paid because I have a certification now. But it didn't come from the what you just said. There's like, I want to help people. Like, and I feel good when I do that, and there's a purpose, and I have a drive, or sometimes like an obsession to do it. Sometimes that's to a fault, but coming back at it with that kind of an attitude, I think that's really what the industry needs. And I think a lot of people, it's sort of in the long run on the larger scale. There's been so many people that have kind of come in and come out, right? Because, and for whatever the reasons were for coming in and coming out, they touched people along the way. Some of those were good touches, and some of them were they were awful touches. And it gets talked a lot about kind of in social media and things like that. But I think what happens with all those touches that happen that were not good, somebody has to go in there and clean that up for them, or at least attempt to. And it's not going to be like, oh, you got taught wrong. Let me show you how to do it better, or whatever. It's, I'm sorry you had that experience. Like, let me find out what you do know, and let's work to try to make this thing better. And that sounds maybe a little corny. When we're talking about firearms instruction, again, the ego, and there's a lot of testosterone that kind of comes, that revolves around it. But that's what I think.
I think it also goes off your instructor's motivation.
That's what I mean. 100%.
So it's either going to be,
what's the intention?
Why is your instructor motivated to teach? Is it because he wants to earn money? Is it because he wants to see you get better? I think that's the most rewarding thing, is watching. Like, I teach a ladies only class, right? So I taught one down in Miami, Florida. I've got this city administrator come in. She is very standoffish about firearms, doesn't really understand them. She doesn't know if she really wants to carry a pistol.
She's fearful. Yeah,
and she doesn't. And so day one, she's just like, I don't really know. I'm here because my friend really forced me to come down here. I told her I would come. So we go through the class. By the end of day 2, she's on the phone with her husband going, hey, you're going to buy me a SIG P365 with a red dot on it, and we're getting this kind of holster. And she's telling me how great it is and how empowered she feels.
It's awesome.
That's what's rewarding to me, is taking somebody from not being fearful and not understanding to being, oh, yes, I can use this, and I understand how to defend myself and take care of myself. That's rewarding to me. I'd rather, that's better than money to me.